All right, we are thrilled to be joined by Austin FC goalkeeper Brad Stuver. Brad, thanks so much for joining us, man. This is great.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
We've had you on the last 2 years. The first time we, I don't know if we've told you this story. We've told it on air before, but I don't know if we've told you this story. But you were the first player that we ever interviewed on our show, and the
Okay.
reason we asked for you is because the big ice storm had just happened and you were like already getting involved in the community, which we didn't know yet that was kind of going to be your thing going forward. But it was like, okay, it's a player who's doing like philanthropic stuff, so it'll look good for the team to have him getting his face out there, and also he's like probably the backup goalkeeper, so it's not like a big ask for the club to do that.
That's
So
true.
we we
That's a
always
good
like
way of looking at it, to be
we
fair.
always like to joke that I think we probably said it not to you on the interview, but leading up to the interview, like, okay, we're going to have backup goalkeeper Brad Stuver on the show again. And so that's just kind of become a running joke between me and Jeremiah that every year we need to have backup goalkeeper Brad Stuver on. So we're
Love
we're
it.
thrilled to have you on again.
Love it.
So I know that you had just moved to town during that first ice storm. And then I heard that you guys didn't fare super well during this most recent one. What was that like for you
Yeah, we
guys?
even we moved different parts of the city and we got hit again. So different storm, different issues, but yeah. So I mean, during the 2021 storm, we had I think it was 4 days no power, 2 days no water, and then in this year we were 6 days no power. So yeah, it was a good time.
Oh yeah, y'all were super excited on Twitter about it too, if I remember right. I'd forgotten about that, but I was following along with Ashley on the
Yeah,
regular
we were.
updates on how it was going.
It was more just a way for us to vent our frustration and try and find out any information whatsoever. I felt like during both, we just weren't getting very much information about what was going on. So it was very difficult to like sit there in the cold and not know. I guess this year it wasn't like actually as cold. So it wasn't as bad. I don't know. It's all bad.
Y'all ended up somewhere warm with electricity at some point, though.
Yeah, we were very fortunate. We were able to utilize some of our friends' places that had power. We were fortunate enough to hit up a hotel for a few nights. So we were definitely in a much better position than a lot of folks. So, but we just wanted to make sure that we used our platform to at least shine a light on what was going on and try and get answers for other people that might not have the access.
So we're gonna ask most of the questions today are gonna come from our Patreon subscribers, and then we have some questions from another group that we'll reveal a little bit later on
Okay.
in the interview. But we'll just jump right into that and kind of base. We can go off on rabbit trails as we need to, or as conversation carries us there. But we'll use the questions as kind of the basis here. So first one comes from Logan Jones. He asks, "What is your favorite keeper kit that you've ever played in?"
um that I've ever played in.
And
Um,
a companion question here is from Jessica Luther, and she asks, "What you think of the Malibu Barbie slash Easter egg kit this year?"
yeah, I know the Malibu stew kit is well received by many. It is not my favorite. I do not like the jumble of four different colors
Yeah.
in the jersey. But I will say it's still undefeated even through the Austin FC two team, so it's gonna keep being used. Um, I mean, I like the black that we have this year. Obviously, I probably won't get to use that very much just because other teams wear dark colors and we have the black on our home kit. But I think my favorite one I ever wore was actually a pink one in college. Uh, it was all pink. It didn't have any purple whatsoever. It was pink and white, so it was all monotone. But it was my favorite just because that was the kit that we beat Akron in. So it just has really good memory with it.
It's got a lot of value. Do you still have one around somewhere?
I'm pretty sure I have that pink jersey. I think it's in my parents' basement somewhere.
That's
So
cool. And
another part of Jessica's question, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm not sure, is do you have any say in which kit you wear in a given game, or is it all just decided by like the two teams' jerseys and availability of color matching and all that?
there's a lot of logistics that go into the colors. We submit to the league like what our preferences are for colors, and then the league kind of goes through each game day and kind of figures out what each team is going to wear and then what the keepers are going to wear. And I wouldn't want to be the person that has to go through every game and do that, because then they have to do the refs as well. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of logistics, but they tell me what I'm wearing on game day and I just wear it. It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go with our next one. It's from Mike Johns. Says you've inspired a lot of kids to try out goalkeeping, including mine. What's something you wish you'd know when you're getting started, and what advice do you have for parents of young keepers?
I'm sorry that your children are going to become goalkeepers. It is probably the most stressful position on the field to be a spectator of. You can ask my parents about that one. But it is very cool to see kids kind of put themselves in goal, because I remember kind of growing up that no one ever wanted to be in goal because they wanted to be the one to score the goals, because that's where like everyone thought like all the action was, and kind of the fame and the glory comes from being the one that scores the goals. But I'm very much into the idea that you can be the unsung hero, or the guy that just kind of does their thing and kind of unassumingly. So I love that more and more people want to be goalkeepers, but we are all crazy. So I am sorry.
Were you tall as a kid? Is that how you got pushed toward it, or did you just decide that was what you wanted to do, or like how did that become your position?
So I played field and goalkeeper growing up. I kind of did both, but I kind of leaned toward goalkeeper. And the only reason I started playing goalkeeper was because when I played with my brother and his friends, they would always just stick me in goal. They wouldn't let me play with them unless I was the goalkeeper. And then when I started playing like travel and club, and anytime they're like, "Oh yeah, we need a goalkeeper," I was like, "Yeah, I'll go in." Like my brother puts me in there anyway. Might as well try it out. So I was also a catcher in baseball, so there's probably a correlation there with something craziness and blocking
Stopping
balls.
balls.
Yeah, something like that.
We got to meet your parents the other day at the laundry project supply drop off, and one thing your mom was saying was that a lot of people would talk about like how exciting penalty kick shootouts were. And she was saying that they were at the RSL game, the playoff game last year, and that felt like she was about to die. So I imagine that's part of the apologies for any parents whose kids are going into your profession.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know anything about being a goalkeeper parent, you can just ask how many bottles of Tums they go through in any given season. Pretty sure they went through an entire bottle during that RSL game. So
So Adam Houghton wants to know if you've picked up any Finnish with your current backline pairing.
no, I have not. But one thing that we do have here at the facility, we have a dry erase whiteboard in the training room, and every week we kind of put like a phrase of the week with a word. And it started with just English and Spanish, and then we had Musa come to town, so we added French in there. Sofian still speaks French, so it's still up there. But now we have guys that, so like Ring speaks Swedish with Adam, and Leo kind of understands Swedish, so they've started doing Swedish as well. So now we just keep adding different languages to this board. So we have like the word of the week within the sentence of the week. So no Finnish yet, but definitely a lot more languages.
Well, if we keep rolling with the center back pairing that you've been seeing lately, you might start to pick up some of it. Do you feel a little hard done by that you were like maybe just starting to learn a bit more Spanish and now you're not getting to hear it as much?
No, it's okay. I mean, Julio will get healthy and he'll find his way back. And I mean, enough guys in our locker room speak Spanish, and my 276-day streak on Duolingo is not useless. So
What's your streak, Jeremiah?
485 right now. So
you got me beat.
it's a big effort.
Yeah, you got me beat.
Have a really
Bye bye.
complex conversation about cats and apples and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yo quiero manzanas.
That's it. That was like the whole first 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like that's still where I'm at.
Oh, so your parents were in town all weekend, and went out to the ATXFC2 match with you. Like, how was that experience? And then, I mean, there was a lot of first team guys out there. Like, just talk about just going out to that game and kind of what it was like for y'all to get to cheer on the second team.
Yeah, it was very cool. I was really excited to see a lot of the first team guys show up and watch. And I know we had a lot of staff there as well. So it was just it was very cool to be a spectator and just kind of see kind of how awesome the fans were. I mean, I went up top in the stands, so I was at the very top looking down on everything. And I mean, it was very cool to see how many people turned up to watch the game, and to see that energy kind of get translated onto the field to the guys playing. You could definitely tell that they just had this swagger about them because they knew that they had so many people there cheering them on. And I don't think they're going to get that too many other places in that league. So I'm glad that Austin continues to show up and show why we are a soccer city.
Damian Loss made a really big save just right at the end of that game the other night. Did you feel like a sense of pride, like that's my boy, like, or like what is the relationship between? I guess that's one of the questions Ryan Brackenridge wanted to ask. Like, what is the relationship between you and those younger guys like Damian?
Yeah, I mean, we always say it's a goalkeeper union, right? It's always an interesting balance for goalkeepers at this level because you have three or four on the roster. Normally, one plays for the first team, and the other three or two or three want to take that spot. So it's kind of this delicate balance of you work together so much, so you have to have a really good working relationship, but then it's also a continuous competition throughout the years and throughout the training sessions. So um, there is a bit of pride when I watch Damien because I know where he started when he got here with us last year, and I've seen how far he's come and kind of see him go out, do his thing, and do extremely well. I was extremely proud of him and very happy that he did that. And anytime that our goalkeeper core shows up and does well, I'm going to be super excited because that's a testament to just like the level that we hold ourselves as a group. And I'll always be super excited and rooting on all of our goalkeepers, whether it's first team, second team, academy, doesn't matter.
There's also a little part of you that's like, don't do too good.
Well, I'll find a way to make sure that I remind them that I'm still
You're the
here.
boss.
I'm still gonna be the one that's gonna be out there on game day. So I mean, it does push you a little bit to just make sure that you're on your toes and ready to answer the bell when it happens.
One thing when I was out there, I noticed that there's quite a few like academy age players who are technically associated with the second team, but didn't get very few made the bench on that night, and none of them played really. What is that transition like? We talked about on last week's show how that must be like a really good life lesson for those kids stepping into this team where it's like this is these guys' jobs, and you're not just coming for their position, you're coming for their livelihood.
Yeah, it's a very big mental switch up. I mean, I think coming from academy, you have this little sense that your roster size is only so big. You play a lot of games in a short amount of time, so a lot of guys get a lot of minutes. And then when you step into these professional ranks, trainings are a little bit more intense, games are a little bit more spread out. So all of a sudden, like you said, there's this idea that this is our life, this is our job. And if someone is coming to take your job away, you're going to do everything you can to fight to keep that way of life. So I think it's really good for like Micah, Anthony, Spencer, these guys to kind of flip the switch and kind of see that mentality, because as much as academy is like competitive and whatnot, it's still kind of fun because it's academy and you go to school and then you have practice with your friends and then you compete and you try and win things. But when it's your job, when you're living it 24/7, there's just this added element where it's like, okay, if you're not doing well enough, you never know what's going to happen the next game or the next year or the next season. So it really, I think it's good for them just to see how much competition goes on in training and how that can affect you throughout the year and how you respond to it.
Yeah, our next question here is from Elise. How aware are y'all, and I think you or any players, of like all the fan and pundit like all the online conversation? Like, do you pay attention to that? Do you try to avoid that?
Uh,
Oh, and do you listen to Moon Tower Soccer? That's the second part of the question. I swear I didn't write that though.
my parents listen to Moon Tower Soccer.
Okay, good.
No, so I'll say the majority of the older guys, those of us that have been around it for so long, um, I think we try and have a level of detachment from the online world and kind of the outside narratives that are going on. I think some of the younger guys get wrapped up into the social media and definitely probably read too much and probably listen to some things that are put out. I love that we have so much like fan driven media, podcasts, opinions, and all that type of stuff. I think it's great to grow the audience of what we're doing, and it gives everyone kind of a voice of what the team is supposed to be about. My thing is sometimes when I see comments or listen to things, I just get this sense that I don't think too many people understand what really goes on inside of a locker room, because at the end of the day, this is our job. We are trying to win trophies. When we lose or when we tie, we're the most pissed off out of everybody. Like, I understand there are fan reactions and there's negativity and there's ways that people think we should be playing and all this type of stuff. But when it comes down to it, the honest conversations and the criticism that goes on in our locker room will always trump anything that goes on social media. Like, there's nothing that we haven't heard before. There's nothing that we haven't told to each other or held ourselves accountable. So for me, like, there's a healthy level of detachment from online because there's already enough talk and constructive criticism and just kind of ways to figure out what we're doing and how to fix things and what we need to be doing, how we need to be doing it. Like, it is our job. We don't just go out and kick a soccer ball. There is a lot that goes into this. So
Our next question is from Brian Hensley, and let us know if this is too personal. Don't feel like you have to give all the details here, but I know Brian sits over on the north end, and you kind of have this ritual at the beginning of each half where you'll like face into the goal and
yep.
just kind of have like a moment to yourself. Do you feel comfortable sharing with us what that is for you?
Yeah. So I got in the habit, I think in college, I started getting in the habit of that. And I just touch each post and then I go stand in the middle of the goal and I stand there and I take a minute to kind of center myself, kind of remind myself what I need to do in that game. And then there's one super personal moment that I've added to the routine. In 2020, I lost my grandfather. He had a long battle with cancer and it finally just caught up with him. And we lost him in late February, early March of 2020. And he never really got to see me become a starter as a professional. And he lived in, like, him and my grandma lived in my parents' house from the time I was 6. So before every game, I just hope that he's out there somewhere watching. And like, he's always with me. I wear his initials on the wrist of my glove. So like, I make sure to center myself, and then I make sure that he's watching, and hopefully he's got like a front row seat there in the north end and the south end. So
That's great. Yeah, I'm sure he would be very proud of you.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's humbling. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's kind of humbling, and now I don't know how to follow up with like another dumb question. We have.
Oh, you can go straight into another dumb question. It's good. That way I don't got to think about it.
All right. No, that's actually not. This is from Alex Rubio. He's one of the photographers that you see. He's huge. If you see a huge guy with a camera, it's going to be Alex Rubio. And he wants to know, like, when you retire, do you have plans to like stay in the game and coach, or are you going to go do something else completely, or have you even thought about that?
We think about it all the time. We know that our professional careers are a finite amount of time, and we never know when it could end. I mean, one injury and your career can be over, or you can become extremely lucky and keep playing for as long as you can. And so there's always thought about what goes on after the game. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to fall. I don't think I'm going to coach. I think I promised Ashley a while ago that I've already sacrificed enough of our time with preseasons and travel and just the amount of time it takes to like be a pro soccer player. And I've also promised her that we can choose a place to settle down and actually live for a long time. And you don't really know when you're a coach, you're going to be bouncing around from team to team. So all I know is whenever I'm done, we'll pick a place where we feel that is our home, and we'll build a life, whether that's adjacent to soccer, with soccer, we'll find out.
Okay, now I'll ask a dumb question. I think we've asked you a similar one in the past. I think we asked which teammate you would pick as a partner in the Amazing Race. This one comes from ATX Bergkamp Lover, and they want to know if you could pick any teammate to star with in a buddy cop style movie, who would you choose and why?
A buddy cop style movie.
Someone to get into hijinks with and solve crimes.
Yeah, like I'm going through like the Will Ferrell and what was Mark Wahlberg, the best cop. Then I'm thinking 21 Jump Street with Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum.
Beverly Hills Cop. Who would you pair him with, Jeremiah?
Brad, I don't know. Do you want to be Channing Tatum or Jonah Hill in this situation? I guess that's
depends on if it's 21 or 22 Jump Street. Let me know. No, I'd probably go Pereira. I feel like the age gap, and he's just a loose cannon as it is. So I think I'm going to go with him.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect answer, actually.
I feel like we're a little bit opposite when it comes to like personalities, and I just think it would be, I think it would be him.
Yeah, I think after I saw you guys at the 4ATX deal, like do your little bit, I was like, these guys should have a show together. Like that was really good.
Well, he always makes fun of me for being old, and I just make fun of him for being young. So it's a nice little combo.
He's the loose cannon kid with good instincts, and you're one day away from retirement and too old for this stuff.
Exactly. Like that.
This one is from Neil ATX, and he asked several things just about kind of like locker room dynamic. I know 2021 was really tough. Last year was a really good season, and y'all kind of had like that underdog mentality. He says the laminating underdogs, and then coming into this season with kind of a rough start, like what do you guys do to kind of keep locker room atmosphere positive? Like, is that a hard thing to do from year to year, or were you guys strengthened from 2021? What does that all look like?
I think we were strengthened from 2021, and I think we were strengthened from last year as well. I do keep kind of falling back into this. Like I try and keep perspective. Last year at this point, we only had one more point than we do right now. So we're not far off like the number of points that we had. Obviously, we're disappointed with the Champions League, and we are disappointed with some of the performances that we put on. Like last year, we had a really hot start where we had 10 goals in 2 games. So some of the narration behind that was like, oh, well, they scored 10 goals, but then in the next 3 games, it wasn't the same. Obviously, there are things that we want to make better, and there are things and standards that we hold ourselves to, especially after such a good year last year. But the mood in the locker room is still together. I'll say like we're still frustrated, and I appreciate that we're frustrated, because even though we're still in a playoff spot, we're 1 point off what we did last year. We still have this sense of frustration because we know we can be so much better and we can be near the top of the table. So I actually really love that. And I love that we're not just content being middle of the table. And
it means you care, right?
Right. And it means that this group just has such high expectations for ourselves based on what we did last year. It's not just like, oh, we're in a playoff spot, we're okay, we'll keep grinding this out. It's like, no, we want to be on top of the league and pushing for supporter shield. So I really love that this locker room is like that, because there are some times where it's like you come off of a good year, you're on cruise control, and you're just like, okay, we're good. As long as we make playoffs, we'll be okay. But this group is very different and very hungry and really wants to put in good performances. So the frustration that we have is just because of the expectations that we put on ourselves. Not that anybody else is putting, but the expectations that we have amongst ourselves in the locker room.
All right, let's go to your. This is one's from Kathy. This is about post game. I think you every game, win, lose or draw, take a walk around the stadium and sort of acknowledge the fans. Like, is that why do you do that?
I try and make sure that no matter what my feelings are from the game, I try and put those aside for those 2-3 minutes that it takes to walk around the field, because I know everyone in the stadium feels the same way that I do. I am able to compartmentalize that, and I am able to put that aside for those small little minutes, no matter what, to make that walk around. I know that there are some players that have a stronger emotional reaction, whether they're angry with the way they played, they're angry at the result, they're angry for whatever reason. I do know that different players respond to those things different ways, and sometimes they go straight into the locker room and I'll walk in and bottles are thrown, things are broken, guys are just sitting there with jersey over their head. So there's a lot of emotion that goes on after the game, and we try and be very cognizant of the fact that the fans are also there with us for the 90 plus minutes that we're out there, and we want to show them the support that they show us all game. But the emotions that go into the game, and sometimes they just kind of boil over in that moment. And the best way for us to show our gratitude to the fans is by winning games. So, and I mean, that's our main goal, is just to get the results, because those results are for the fans and for the club, for us. So when we don't do that, it's like we let ourselves down, we let the fans down, we let the city down. So yeah, just a lot of emotion that goes on in those couple minutes there.
Jeremiah, do you want to do one more of the Patreon questions, or should we move on to our second category?
Well, I want to go back to something that's not on the list. Like, I was thinking about RSL, and that being like super dramatic. Like, there's this awesome like photo and video clip of you kind of turning around at the south end with your teammates about to swarm you. Like, talk us through that moment.
I blacked out. No, I mean,
so you didn't choose to stand in that stream of light then?
Didn't even know there was a light stream there, to be honest with you. I just dove that way, and when I stood up, I was trying to get outside of the post so I could look up and see everything that was going on. But yeah, Jacob, our photographer, came up clutch with that photo. He was actually amazing and got it printed for me, and I have it hanging up in my little Austin FC game room in our house. But yeah, I mean, that moment in general just kind of blacked out. Big sigh of relief that we were able to get our first win at home in the playoffs. So very exciting and nerve-wracking all at the same time. I tell everybody that was, before that game, was the most nervous I had ever been before any soccer game ever. So
all right, now let's move on to the second category. We told you these are from a different group of people. This is from the Handsome Boys Modeling Football Club, which is...
I figured that's where it was coming when you didn't say it at the very beginning.
So this is a channel and a group, and almost like a way of life for certain members of Los Verdes.
And I know very well.
They gave you like a championship belt of some sort, right? Or like some kind of prize at the... What did the fundraiser last year at Hop Squad? I thought you got some kind of award or something for that group.
Oh yeah, they gave, I think it was like humanitarian or something. But yeah. that's with the 4ATX Legends of the Year award as well. But the Handsome Boys have given me plenty of merchandise with the Peach logo. So
all right, the first one from them comes from Rico. He asks, how long does it take you to do your hair? And what's the difference in a non-game and game day hair routines? I know you're not going to tell us what product you use because you've been asked before and have declined to answer, but can
And
you tell
Rico
us
is
about the
always
process?
trying to get that answer.
I know, and
Um,
we've got an in with your barber, and they're also very good about like not revealing that. Like we have a
well,
friend
they
who gets
don't.
their hair cut from the same
He
place.
doesn't know what product I use because I don't tell him. When I get my hair cut, he puts his product in there, but I don't go anywhere after that. So, um, I forget the first part of the question because I'm guarding my
How long
secrets.
does it take you?
Oh, it doesn't take me very long. It takes me like 4 minutes probably to do my hair. Um, but yeah, I have a game day and training day product that I use so that my hair does not move because I have pictures early in my career where it was just kind of flopping all over the place in games and it looks stupid. And
Not
then
with Jacob standing around ready to take pictures of you all the time.
I have my everyday uh I guess it's pomade that I can give the everyday. I don't care about that one. It's just like a pomade cream that I put in and it has pretty good hold, but it's also movable and it's not crunchy. So that's all he's getting.
So the next one is from Pedro Berlanga, who is a fellow Southsider like you and I. Without doxing yourself and giving away too many details, what are some of your favorite South Austin spots?
Um, so let's see. We go to Lauro on South Lamar. We go to Picnic on South First. Um, Thai Fresh on I think it's Mary Street.
Thai Fresh is good stuff.
Honestly, I can keep naming places, but I mean, there's just so much good food. Maudi's, we go to Maudi's, Hacienda on Slaughter. So all good spots.
Good
Any
spot too.
non
How about
any non-food things in South Austin that are some of your favorites?
Um, I mean, we do coffee a lot, but there's about 100 coffee shops in South Austin. So take your pick where you want to go.
Yeah.
um,
Mary.
Har- I got one from Harley that is, what is the most creative heckle you've heard from an opposing fan at a match?
Mm, I think it'll be Nashville in 2021. They somehow were able to get the entire supporter section to yell, "You skip leg day," making fun of how skinny my legs are. I think that was by far probably one of my favorite ones that I've heard. Like a lot of times it's just like profanity and you suck and all this, but when they come up with something clever like that, I was like, oh, you know what? That's actually pretty good. And then Minnesota fans they are also pretty good. They came up with all this Harry Potter stuff. They found out that I was a big Harry Potter guy and they were like chanting different like Harry Potter spells to like give up goals. It was pretty clever.
I was gonna ask you about Minnesota because I went to that very first game in 21. We went to that away match, and the Black Heart is a bar there next to the stadium, and on their letterboard out in front, they had some Harry Potter reference like taunting you specifically.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but one of their like supporters caught me after the game and was like, "Yeah, like we do our research on the opposing goalkeeper and we try and find things to like heckle them about the week leading up to the game, and then during the game we use it." I was like, "That is extremely clever and a lot of work," but I was like dying laughing. I was like, "This is fantastic that you guys are making fun of me because of Harry Potter, but it's great."
Okay, one more, and this is the most Handsome Boys Modeling Football Club question. This one comes from Jesse Sosa, the
Of
creator
course he
of
does.
the Malibu stew cutout that was given to your parents the other day, I believe.
Yeah.
His question is, what are your top two favorite stretches to do, and can you describe them in detail?
I was hoping you were going to ask that one. I was just looking at it.
Oh, I love Jesse. I don't even know. I know what he wants me to say. I'll
Give
just
the
do
people what they want.
yeah, I was gonna say the one stretch that is always part of the pregame routine is the hip flexor hamstring stretch where I'm on one knee with the other leg straight out in front of me. hand over my head. So yeah, I'll just say that one. It's the one that hits the most muscles in the least amount of movement. So
All right, we have wasted enough of your time, Brad. Before we wrap up, we want to give you a little bit of space to talk about your work with both Equality Texas and with the Laundry Project.
oh, yeah. All right, we'll start with. I guess we'll start with Equality Texas because we are in a Texas legislative session. There are 140 anti-LGBTQIA plus bills up for discussion in the Texas legislative session right now. Some will not have hearings, but if you follow me on social media, I will be posting about different bills. And if you feel so inclined, you can go to the Capitol. The easiest way to support kind of Equality Texas and the work they are doing is to drop a card while these hearings are in session. You basically just go to the Texas State Capitol, you get on their free public Wi-Fi, and then you just register your stance on any specific bill by going to their website. Yesterday we had a spur of the moment rally where hundreds of people showed up to the Capitol to register their opinions against one of the anti-trans bills. And we had over 2,000 people show up to the Capitol to oppose the bill, which is an amazing, amazing feat in comparison to the 60 people that dropped cards for the bill. So really it's just right now, if you want to support the LGBTQI plus community, just kind of showing up to the Capitol whenever you can and dropping cards to oppose some of these bad bills. And on the reverse side, there's about 150 good bills that you can register for as well. And then for Laundry Project, we just had our donation drive at Hop Squad. Thank you to the Fighting Leslies who brought in about $1,000 worth of laundry supplies. And thank you to all the other supporters groups for coming out. I'm pretty sure we're set on laundry supplies for both of our project dates this year. And our first project date is on April 16th. We will have 4 different locations in Austin. And I think the only thing we have left to do is just garner volunteers. I know it will be a very quick sell, but we'll have volunteer sign-up sheets going out probably within the next week or 2.
All right, perfect. Well, I know we and all Austin FC fans really appreciate everything that you and Ashley do in the community. So hopefully, I know it's a bye week this week. Hopefully you're able to get the rest that you need and the prep for the next game, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Well, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on again.
Thanks, Brad.